Hey there yogis, I'm Nicole. Welcome back to My Yoga Time. Thanks for joining me today. Today's short, sweet practice is very gentle, very potent. We're only going to move through a couple of postures, but we will be mindfully focusing on our breath. So the breath is one of the most important parts of your practice. How we feel is always reflected in the way that we breathe. Our breath is always a barometer, especially in our dynamic practice. If we're not breathing, if the breath is shortened or shallow, that's always a sign that we've gone too far. And the breath, it's not the only, but it's the main pranic vehicle. So the main vehicle that we can bring prana into the body, our life force energy. So we're really focusing on our belly diaphragmatic breathing today. So you're going to breathe into belly as though you're blowing up a balloon. And each time you inhale, we're going to hold the breath just for 1 or 2 counts before exhaling slowly, drawing the belly back in towards the spine. So there's going to be a few different cues along the way. But one of the quickest ways to hack the nervous system and soothe any anxiety or stress is through the breath. By slowing the breath down, by breathing into the belly, pausing before you exhale, and also breathing into the back breathing. They're all very effective, quick ways to soothe the nervous system, and we're going to explore all those breaths today. So I'm going to encourage you to send the breath into different parts of the body, and at first that might seem a little tricky. It does get easier with time. And as your practice starts to progress, you may start to notice as you inhale that expansion starts to press on those lines of tension, and then as we exhale, we soften and release. How we feel is always reflected in the way that we breathe. Where attention goes, energy will flow. So one more thing to share with you from the very fantastic book Heart of Yoga by TKV Desikachar. He discusses in there that just one of the intentions of our yoga practice is to remove the ama. So ama, A-M-A, is the Sanskrit word for anything that's unprocessed, undigested, uncooked. And what that refers to is not only food that we bring into the body, but also our thoughts and our emotions. So everything the body takes in needs to be processed and released for our optimal health. One of the ways we do that is through our efficient pranayama. So the more ama, or the more crap we can get rid of from our body, then there's more space for the prana to flow freely. So this class is suitable for all levels of experience. I do have 2 blocks for this practice. If you've only got 1 block, then also grab yourself either a rolled up towel or a pillow. If you don't have any props, then a rolled up towel will be enough. If you know that your quads are tight and you can't reach your feet in a quad stretch, you might like to take a hold of a yoga strap or a belt as well. So when you're ready, let's begin. We're going to start in our crocodile pose on your navel. Make a pillow with your hands. And then we'll just gently start to lengthen the legs. So you might like to tuck the toes under, lift the knees, reaching back, and then relax and settle those feet. So tops of the feet on the mat, heels gently falling outwards, forehead resting on the back of your palms. Let's gently place the very tip of the tongue where the teeth meet the roof of the mouth. And begin to breathe deeply into the belly, almost as though you're blowing up a balloon. Feel the belly press against the mat as you inhale. A moment to pause before you exhale. Observing that gentle expansion and contraction. And as you watch your breath with a keen eye, see if you can feel the breath first in the belly and then in the upper back. So breathe into the belly and then the upper back, and then breathe out from the upper back to the belly. Notice how the body responds to the pulse of your breath. Breathing into the belly and then to the back. Breathing out from the back and then the belly. Finding that little pause before you exhale, that moment of stillness. Let's take one more breath here. Breathing into the belly and then the upper back. And pause. Exhale slowly. And from here, let's roll over onto your right side. You can use your arm as a pillow and prop up the head if you like. Now you will need one block or maybe your rolled up towel just to place underneath your left knee. We'll let that left knee relax. Focus now is on the right leg. Straighten the leg, tuck your toes under and rotate the leg so the heel points up to the ceiling. And then we'll take that leg back just a little. Try not to lose that rotation. If you can, then bend the knee, take a hold of the foot. If you can't reach the foot, here is where you would use a strap. So to lighten the pose, you'll keep the head propped up, a little deeper if you allow yourself to lower down. So to ever so gently deepen the pose, I want you to see if you can shorten the space between the pubic bone and the belly button. It's almost like you're tucking the tailbone under. And then we're gently going to deepen the breath down the right side of the body. So where attention goes, energy flows. Keeping the tongue in position and the jaw relaxed. Three more deep breaths down the right side of the body. Pausing before you exhale. Then your last exhalation, release the foot. We'll roll over onto your back. And then we'll go straight over to the other side. Take your prop. Rest your right knee. Look for that rotation in your left leg. Take the leg back and then collect the foot. Little engagement here, tucking tailbone under. Deepen the pose by deepening your breath. Can you feel the breath down the left side of the body? Take one more deep inhalation and pause. And as you exhale, release the foot. From here, we'll press up to a seated position. From this seated position, bring the soles of the feet together, allow the knees to fall out wide. Now, it's not a butterfly pose. We don't want the heels in close to the groin. You can send them out. If your knees and hips need support and you do have those blocks, you can always prop them up under the legs, or rolled up towels under there will be helpful as well. We're going to fold forward and allow the back to round as you do so. I'm going to place a block in between the feet to rest the head. You could always fold down to a chair or maybe stack your blocks, but we're only going to be here for a short time, so don't feel that you necessarily have to prop the head. So just allowing the back to round. Hands can rest on the mat or on the feet, wherever is comfortable. And just bringing your awareness now to the back side of the body. As you inhale, can you feel the back rise and expand? Take that moment to pause before you exhale slowly, softening, surrendering.
Can you feel the back rise and fall with the ebb and flow of your breath? It's almost as though you're trying to puff out your back with your breath. Let's take 3 more breaths here, and this time, as you exhale each time, ha out the breath. And when you're ready, slowly start to lift on up.
You can move your props to the side. We're just going to lean back and swish those knees from side to side. Little movement in through the back and through the legs. Take longer there if you need to. Otherwise, next posture, upper back bend. So this is where we use our props. If you've got the 2 blocks and you're quite supple through the shoulders, you might like to take the block underneath the shoulders to the second height. It's a neutral pose if the head and the shoulders are at the same height. If you want to deepen the pose, you go lower underneath the head. If you need to lighten the pose, you can go lower under the shoulders, higher under the head. If you don't have the 2 props, this is where we'll use the rolled up towel quite tightly, rolled up tightly behind those shoulder blades, and the head can just rest on the mat, or if you need extra support, you could use a block there. Obviously, we all have different posture, so it's just finding that sweet spot, what works for you. I'm going to begin with both blocks on the second height. Now, if your back is a little niggly, you can always keep those knees bent. If it feels okay for your back, then you might like to straighten and relax the legs. So don't focus too much here on that belly breath. Let's just let the breath reside in the chest, in the heart center. Here, let's visualize the breath, breathing in through the heart center and out through the crown. Breathe in through the heart and out through the crown. So just here for a couple more breaths, I'm going to take the prop under my head a little bit lower. Only do that if you feel comfortable to do so. If there's any catching at all in the neck, in the back, then stay on the previous height. Again, don't hesitate to bend the knees. Now what I'm going to encourage you to do here for the last 3 breaths is 3 lion's breaths. So we exhale through the mouth and we stick out our tongue and we open the eyes wide. So inhale through the nose. Breathe out through the mouth. We're clearing the heart and throat centers. We're purging through the breath. Inhale. Last one. Well done, yogis. Let's bend those knees. You can either roll off to your side, coming off the props. Otherwise, turn the palms down, tuck in the chin, come halfway up. Remove your props and then recline onto your back. Once on your back, let's have the feet as wide as the mat and bring the knees in to touch. And taking your awareness to the meeting points between the upper back and the mat. Acknowledging any newfound space. Now let's take our awareness back to that same breathing exercise we did at the beginning in our crocodile pose. Awareness first, breathing into the belly. You should feel your hands rise as you inhale and gently lower as you exhale. And taking this a little further now, breathe first into the belly and then into the upper back. Breathing out, upper back and then the belly. Breathing into the belly and upper back. A moment to pause. Breathing out from the upper back to the belly. Feel free to stay here a little longer with that exercise. Otherwise, you might like to straighten and relax the legs. Release the hands, tucking the shoulders under as you move into Shavasana. Coming into stillness. Softening the forehead, the tongue and jaw. And taking the next few moments to just be in this peaceful spaciousness. Breathing a little deeper now as you guide your awareness back. Take a deep inhalation and breathe down the right arm to the fingertips. And breathe down the right leg to the tips of the toes. Can you send your breath and the prana down the left leg? And breathing down the left arm to those fingertips. Feel free to swallow if the mouth is dry, or wiggling toes and fingers. Following any urges to move or stretch. And only when you're ready, roll onto your preferred side. Take as long as you like there. Only coming up to seated when you're ready to move on with your day. I hope that you enjoyed that practice, yogis, and that you are feeling a lot more relaxed and a little more spacious. If you have any class requests, please feel free to make them in the comments below. The intention of this channel is to help cultivate your home practice. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support free yoga on YouTube. Wishing you a lovely day.